Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video I am going to show you how to replicate and migrate physical on-premises servers to the Azure using the Azure Migrate classic method. This is perfect if you have a physical or unsupported VMs that need agent based migrations or replications. Okay, on my screen you can see the Microsoft document which shows or explains the whole steps. There are free prerequisites and all explanations of all the steps what we are going to do in this uh, video, and also what we are trying to achieve. So this is another tab, okay, which is going to explain you about the agent based migration architecture. Okay, so below is the diagram. The whole process is managed by the replication appliance, okay, which is shown here. These are the on-premises Windows machines, physical or virtual machines. Okay, so those virtual machines are communicating to the replication appliance. The replication appliance include two main services which handle the whole replication or the migration process. One is the configuration server process, and second is the process server. Okay, so these are the two services which perform the main role in the whole process. Here on my screen you can see the architecture diagram for the replication and the migration. Okay, so here you can see the replication server which include configuration server and the process server, okay, services which communicate to the on-premises Windows or the Linux machine in as you can see in the virtual as you can see in the diagram. Okay, it is communicating through the port number 443 and 9443. Okay, so the replication server sends the data to the Microsoft Azure Migrate, okay, through the data channel uh, uh, over the public internet or the express route in case of any private endpoint or private environment. Okay, so the Microsoft Azure host Azure Migrate, and there is an recovery service vault is created in the backend by the Azure Migrate, and it uses an storage server for catching the data, okay, from the source server and replicating to the destination region or location. So this is another diagram which I have created for this video. Here I just wanted you everyone to explain that I have one physical server hosting Windows Server 2016, and I am going to deploy one replication appliance. Okay, so the replication appliance is going to replicate this server to the Azure. Okay, so this is the server. After the replication it is going to be created. Okay, so we are going to use this connectivity. In my case I am not going to use public internet, so the communication will be private. Okay, and my all the resources created in the Azures are in the private network. Okay, so we have already created private endpoints. Okay. Okay, so it depends. Actually, you can use the public internet also, but for secure communication I'm using a private communication channel between the on-premises and the Azure using the VPN. Okay, so you have any both the options, either replicate the server using the public internet, or you can use express route or VPN. Okay, to replicate the server to the Azure using private communication. Okay. So but Azure Express route is always recommended because the VPN will provide low performance, or the application will take time. Okay, so uh, let's start we can start from here by creating a new Azure Migrate project. So let me name this, okay, Azure Migrate. Okay, and this is recovery service vault. So let me name this also. So this Azure we are going to start by creating the Azure Migrate, and while preparing the infrastructure, the Azure Migrate is going to create the recovery service vault automatically. Later we need one storage account for catching the data from the on-premises, that is going to be used by the replication appliance to store the data. Okay, and once the whole infrastructure is set up and the replication appliance started working, or replicating the physical server, this disk will be created. Once the disk is created, we can use that disk as an image to create a virtual machine. For this virtual machine, I'm not going to use the same VNet. I'm going to use a different virtual network to deploy the VM, attach the VM. Okay, so let's start. You can search for Azure Migrate. Okay, it is going to take you to this window. Okay, so I'm going to click on servers database. This is the migration goal. Okay, there are some other services also. Okay, so you can see I have already created one project, so I'm going to create another project for the demo. First you need to select your subscription. Okay, create one new demo resource group for migration. Okay, you can select any existing resource group, give some name to your migration project. I'm going to give migration demo. I wanted to replicate my virtual machine, sorry, my physical server to the India, so I'm going to select this. So this is the location where the Azure Migrate is going to create my project. Okay, that is going to be used by replication appliance. Okay, so when you click on the advanced, there will be an option called connectivity method. Here it by default it is mentioned public endpoint, but I am going to switch to the private endpoint and disable the public network access. I am going to select yes. Select one. So once all these details are filled, you can click on the create button. Remember, I am using private endpoint. You can also use the public endpoints if you are not directly connected to the Azure using the express route or the VPN gateway from the on-premises to the Azure. So my project is created. Okay, this is migration happen demo. Now we can proceed with next step. Okay. So I'm going to check whether the private endpoint is created for my project or not. Okay, so I'm going to click on the properties. I can see disable public network access is yes. Okay, and the private endpoint name is this, and it is connected to this virtual network and the subnet in this subscription. Okay, so it means the project is created and successfully with the private channel for communication. Okay, so let's proceed with the next step. You can now go to the server, database and web apps. Okay, and after you can scroll down migrations tool. Okay, make sure you have selected your own project. Okay, if you have multiple project. Okay, so you can go to the migration and modernization. This is the migration tool. Okay, click on discover button. So this is the destination where we are going to replicate the virtual machine, the on-premises virtual machine. Okay, so for now I'm selecting Azure VM. I'm just going to replicate my on-premises server to the Azure VM as an Azure VM. Okay, so since I'm going to replicate my physical server, and so I'm going to select this option. Okay, if you are going to perform this migration or application task activity for the VMware or hypervisor, you can select those options accordingly. Okay, I am going to select this Central India data center of Microsoft. You can select according to your requirement which suits your needs. Confirm that the target region for the migration is Central India. Just select this checkbox. Okay, and click on create resources. It is going to create all the required resources in the background. Okay, so let's wait for a minute. Okay, so the resources has been created. Okay, let's see what are the resources. Has created one recovery service vault. Okay, and there are some hidden Azure Migrate project. So let's move to the next step. I'm also going to confirm whether this recovery service vault is private or not. So I'm going to the recovery service vault and enter networking. So you can see the public network access is denied. And let's go to the private access. So it is there is one private endpoint. So my recovery service vault is also private. In next step, we are going to prepare the replication appliance. Okay, uh, as I have mentioned, I'm going to use a Windows Server 2016 for the replication appliance. Okay, so the replication appliance is going to have two services: the configuration server, which is going to coordinate the communication between on-premises and the Azure and manages the data replications. The process server acts as an replication gateway. It receives replication data and optimizes that data with caching, compression, and encryption. Then it sends the data to the cache storage account in the Azure. So this is the storage account. Okay, so this is the replication which is going to perform both the task as a configuration server as a process server. So let's go back to the Azure Migrate. Okay, let's go to the servers and database and web apps. Okay, now scroll down to the bottom again, migration tool, and you can click on discover button. Okay, for replication appliance preparation. Okay, click Azure VM again, select the platform on which we are from which we are going to replicate. Okay, it is so by default the target region which I have selected for my project is Central India, so it is showing that. Okay, so we need to select one experience type. Okay, right now I'm going to use the classic experience. Okay, this is the method which I have opened here. Okay, now I'm going to use this option, installer application appliance. Okay, if you have already one appliance and you want to scale up, okay, for boosting your the performance, you can use this option, scale out appliance. So since I don't have any appliance, I am going to select this option. So it is going to give you some files, okay, exe file to be downloaded and install on an Windows Server 2016. Okay, or any other compatible system that support the appliance exe file. Okay, installation file. This is the key file, registration key file, that is used by the appliance to register into the Azure Migrate service. Okay, once the registration is completed, we can finalize the configuration server. Okay, so let's download this file and install on the server. So now we are going to prepare the replication appliance server. Okay, for that we need to download the replication appliance installer. This is the same steps which I have shown you a few minutes ago with a simplified experience and the classic experience. I'm going to follow the classic experience part. Okay, so let's go to the discover option again, and I'm going to copy this link and I am going to the appliance server. So I'm going to connect to the server and I'm going to run that installer there. Okay, so this is 192.168.0.24 is my Windows Server 2016. Before starting with anything, I'm going to Server Manager, the local servers. Now I'm going to disable Internet Explorer and enhance security for the administrator. Okay. Many times this creates some problems while running the unified setup. Okay. I'm going to open the Internet Explorer and paste the URL which I have copied from there and download, save. It is downloading. So the setup is downloaded, and now we can run this exe file once this scanning is completed. Okay, click on run. You can find that file in the downloads. Okay, so this is the file that I have downloaded just now. So once that download is completed and we ran this exe, it is going to open this wizard. So since this is a new server configuration, I'm going to use this option. Okay, accept. It is going to install a MySQL community version. Okay, for database to store the replication or the servers or other metadata informations. Okay. So once I will click on next, I will see this window. It is asking for registration key. So the registration key we can download from here, as I have mentioned earlier. Okay, so it is downloaded. You can see it is here. I'm going to copy and paste it to the desktop. We will browse the key from the desktop. I will take the key, click next. I am not using any proxy server, so I am going to use connected directly option without proxy server option. Okay, it is showing some warnings like minimum configuration of the memory and CPU warnings. You can ignore this. Okay. For a demo, but if you are you want to replicate production resources, then it is recommended to use 8 cores for best performance and minimum 16 GB of the RAM. Okay, and the free space should be minimum 300, and recommendation by the Microsoft is 600 GB. The IP should be static. In my case, I am using DSCP since this is a demo environment. So once all the validation checked are passed, or there is no error, we can click on next. I'm going to provide one password for the SQL. So I'm not going to protect any VMware virtual machines. I'm going to click no. Next. So this is the location where the this site recovery unified setup is going to be installed. Okay, you can switch. I have only one Ethernet, so I'm going to select that. If you have multiple Ethernet, then you can select according to your requirement, one for the communication to the on-premises machines and another for sending the data to the or for the failback of the Azure components. Okay, click next, do the installation. Okay, so the installation got failed. Let me check why. So I guess it is there is some dependencies required. I'm using Chrome again to download the BC++ 2013. Okay, I will go and x66 download. Okay, it is downloaded. We need also 2015, download that too. If it is already downloaded in your system, then you will not face this issue. If it is not, then you need to install this. Okay, remember to install x86 version for both. Let's rerun the unified setup and check whether it is working. Still same issue. Let's try to download this and install manually MySQL. Okay, so I'm going to click on the setup file again. Click on this direct download link. Okay, to download the MySQL. Is downloaded. Okay, let's click on the next. Let's first install MySQL. Next, so the installation of the MySQL is completed. So now the MySQL is running successfully. Let's move with next step. Okay. So since there was a problem with the MySQL, so I have installed the MySQL before the installation of unified setup. Okay, and for the MySQL there is another dependencies, the VC++ 2013 x64 and x86, and VC++ 2015 x86 version. Okay, so you can see all the setups here. So let's click on next. Give the password that we have created for the MySQL. Next, no, next. So this time the download message for the MySQL is showing already installed, since we have done that already. So let's wait for a few minutes to complete the installation process. installation still is in progress. Let's wait for a few more minutes. So after running several minutes, the installation got failed. uh, I'm going to restart the server. Let's wait. Let's run the setup file once again. So this time there is no errors, and I guess the installation will be completed in few minutes. And this happened after restarting the server. Okay. Okay, so it is now registering the server to the site recovery. Okay, so after this server will be visible in the Azure Migrate, and this server is going to read the data from the source VM and replicate that data to the cache storage account, and from there the recovery service vault is going to replicate data to the destination region. and the installation is completed. Let's So this is the passphrase which is required to register the source virtual machine to this appliance server. So let's copy and paste this to a text file. Passphrase text. It is required, so I'm going to keep. We also need one administrator user for replication purpose. Okay, successfully saved. So the user is visible here. Okay, close. Now I am going to the Azure portal and I will check whether my appliance is registered successfully with the Azure Migrate or not. Okay, so let's go there. Select your appliance. So once the unified setup is installed in your system, the VM will be visible here under the discover. Here it is, and you can just select and then finalize the registration. So it will take some time. So once we have configured the appliance successfully, okay, So in my case, this is the appliance. Okay, so once we have configured the appliance successfully, now we can go to the physical server, which once we have successfully configured the replication appliance, we can go to the Azure portal and verify it is visible under the description session or not. Okay, from here the same steps which we have done earlier, replication, so it should be visible here. Okay, so it is showing registration is finalized. We can close this window. Now we can go to the back to the source server. Okay, so this is my appliance and this is my source server 0.23. We need to install mobility agent here to start with the replication process. Okay, so I'm going to minimize this. I will go to the appliance. I'm going to C drive x86 Microsoft Azure agents. Here you will find okay. So I'm back to the appliance server, and on this path you will see the agents, the mobility agents that need to be installed in the source servers, that needs to be replicated. So this exe file, or you can see application, is for the Windows, others are for the Linux. So depending on your operating system, you need to copy this agent and take to the source VM. So we are copying this application from the replication appliance server, the path which I have shown just now. Okay, and you can keep this on the desktop of source server which you want to replicate. So I'm going to open the command line, go to the path, users, administrator, desktop, dir check. Okay, so the Microsoft /quite /x colon. Okay, I'm going to give this path. Let's okay. You can see. Okay, so it is done. So we have successfully extracted the files here. So I'm going to copy all these files. I'm going to create one directory here with this name, and the all the extracted files I'm going to copy from there to this new directory, paste here, done. So here we are going to use unified agent, okay, and the unified agent .exe.configuration file, okay, installer. Okay, so let's start. So for this we need some commands to be executed, so I have already kept those commands on the notepad. Okay, so these are the commands. You will get this command from my description box. Okay, so I'm going to that path again, the C drive, the programs x86 and Microsoft Smart. It is going to start the installation process. It will take some time. Okay, so we have created the replication appliance till now. We have created the Azure Migrate process project. We have created the recovery service vault. Okay, now we are configuring the mobility agent on the physical server. You will get the mobility agent setup from the replication appliance, and you can copy easily to the physical server. Okay, and later you can perform those commands, these commands for the installation. Okay, so the installation of the mobility agent is completed. Now we need to register the source virtual machines to the replication appliance. Okay, so for the registration of the source virtual machine to the replication appliance require two things. One is running another command on the command prompt, and second one, we need the passphrase that we have copied during after the installation of replication appliance. So I'm going to the replication appliance server. So this is my passphrase. I'm going to copy this, and I am going to take this to the source server. I'm going to clear this command prompt. Okay. So I have updated the configuration successfully. Configuration server endpoint, that is the IP address of the replication appliance, which is 192.168.0.24 for me. Okay, the path to the passphrase, I have stored that passphrase on my desktop. So our source virtual machine is successfully registered to the replication appliance, which is 192.168.0.24. Okay, let's go to the Azure portal and check. So we have completed this setup and this setup and also this. Okay, so first what we have done, we have created the Azure Migrate project. Later we ran the discover and created the recovery service vault. Okay, means and uh, from the Azure Migrate we have prepared the replication appliance, and from the replication appliance we have copied few files to the physical server, and we have also installed the mobility agent and registered the mobility agent back to the replication server. Let's see if we can see the source virtual machine in the Azure and run. Okay, okay, so this time it has taken the credentials which we have added in the replication server last time. This one, CS versus L. Okay, so this user is visible here now. Okay, we can click on this. Okay, my source virtual machine is visible, the 23. Okay, the source virtual machine. I can check this box. Click next. Okay, so before doing this process we need one storage account. Okay, so you can create a new storage account or utilize any existing one. Let's select one storage resource group. So I have selected my subscription, I have selected my resource group. You can select any depending on your requirement. Since this is not an SQL server, so I'm going to uncheck this box. If you have your on-premises license and you want to utilize on the Azure, then you can check this box and confirm this. Right now I'm doing unchecked. So the cache server. Okay, so for now I'm selecting this one. It is showing some manage identity permission issue. Okay, so I'm going to the storage account list. This is the storage account. I'm going to give a storage account data blob data contributor to the manage identity of recovery service vault. Select. Once done, go back to the add assignments and role. This time I am going to give contributor to the recovery service vault manage identity. So you can see I have given contributor as well as storage account block. Contributor, I'm going to the same page again. I will switch and come back to that. Okay, so this time it is working. So remember, since I'm doing this migration with the private endpoints, so I have already created private endpoint for this storage account as well. You can see here. Okay, for blob storage. So all three are in the same network. Okay, so I'm going to select one virtual network, SQL HA app. You can keep this automatically or you can select any SKU for your destination or replicated virtual machine. For now I have selected B2AS. Click next. Selected disk which you want to replicate and select the type of the disk to be created on the Azure. Replicate button, click on replicate button. You can click on this and check the status of the replication. So it is showing prerequisite checks for the enabling protection. It is successful. Installing mobility service and preparing target in progress. Everything is succeeded now. Can go back and go to the Azure Migrate. servers. You can click on overview, and you can see in the replication session, you can see the virtual machine is healthy and the current synchronization state is 0%. It will take some time to complete the replication. You can come back and check after some time. Azure will now begin replicating the on-premises server to the cloud. This may take some time depending on the size of the disk and the bandwidth. You can monitor the replication progress from the Azure Migrate dashboard, okay, or from here, okay. So that's it, we are done. In the next video I am going to continue with migrating the same virtual machine, okay, and we will check how we can do a test migration. If you found this video is helpful, you can click on subscribe button and like button, share this video with your friends, and let me know if you have any queries. You can put in the comment box. Thank you for watching the video.